Good evening, everyone. Did it again. Forgot to flip the screen so I could see what was going on. Oh, wow. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to Old Folks Boogie 2. And this is my 15 minutes. It's an episode of just me talking about whatever I want to for 15 minutes a night, every night, for hopefully a year. That's my goal, is to get a year into this. Anyway, welcome. It is the 21st of January in 2020, and this is my 21st episode. So, if anybody's watching, hope you all had a good day. Interesting take today. It's actually a couple of weeks ago. First off, I'm a fan of Shark Tank. Love it. I love those guys. I love Mark Cuban and Barbara Quirk. I love them all. Even Mr. Wonderful. Everybody. They're just all. They all have their role to play. They're all characters in their own right, and they're great. But I also love the show, and I love the products that people bring to market. Or watching people try to bring products to market. I mean, I think that's the whole appeal of the show. See who falls flat on their face and who doesn't, who makes it and who doesn't. Great. I mean, just a great show. So many laughs, so many funny things, and following them. I actually go back and on CNBC. I mean, of course, ABC airs Shark Tank, but somehow CNBC airs the reruns of Shark Tank during the week, and a lot of them, and they run them so often that you can see, over a period of time, you can see everything that's ever been. And what's really interesting is to go back to the beginning and see some of the season 1, 2, 3 things, and go back and then do a Google search and see what happened to them. Really, 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 very interesting stuff. Some that didn't get funded there got funded later and became even bigger successes. We all know about a few of those. Those guys have showed back up on Shark Tank. But anyway, tonight, when I was the reason I brought that up is because a couple weeks ago on Shark Tank, they had a couple that came in with a very, very unique idea. It was called, and is called Love Sync. It's not, I don't even know how to describe it exactly. I'll try to do the best I can. And I think, but the gist of the idea is that you and your partner each have a button on your side of the bed. And instead of talking to your partner and saying, hey, do you feel like having a little sex tonight? Or do you feel like getting intimate tonight? Or, or just reaching over and seeing if a little fondling works and brings your partner over to your side, or your partner does that to you, whatever that is, you don't do it. Because we don't. Because as human beings, the rejection part of that is, something we don't like to deal with. But anyway, so they developed a wireless device of some sort. I don't know how that part of it works, probably Bluetooth. So you've got a button on your side, your partner has a button on the other side, and you're laying down to go to bed at the same time, hopefully, because if you reach over and touch your button by yourself, nothing happens. But if your partner reaches over, sometime within the 15 minutes after you touch your button, if your partner touches that button, then they both glow a green light, and everybody knows that everybody's ready, so it's a little easy to just turn over and have some fun. Now, at the time, I was watching it, as it happened on Shark Tank. Because I watch Shark Tank every week. I never miss an episode if I can. I don't know if I have or not, but if I have, I caught up with them on CNBC. But anyway, at the time, the presentation was certainly off. The couple, it took them a long time to get their point across, and there was a number of really good points made by the Sharks. One by Barbara Corcoran, which was real on point. that they were so in love with their own product that they couldn't they couldn't listen to what other people had to say to see if there was any valid points to be heard. But anyway, they didn't listen and they didn't get a job. They didn't get a deal. They didn't get a deal. Nobody, I don't think most of the sharks even got the premise because they all poo-pooed it. Why can't you just talk, blah, 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 blah. But I think the premise was valid. I think there is a definite validity to this type of approach. I don't know that it's for everybody by any stretch of the imagination, but there's lots of couples out there, millions of them. Just a little touch of the market will be fine. For them, I don't know that it's scalable at the shark level, but it could be. Worldwide, who knows? I mean, I think the problem, again, was in the presentation. They had these buttons on the side of it, and the next thing you know, they're talking about apps, and it really was a disaster of a presentation. But the premise is there. If they would stop and listen to what other people had to say, maybe something would have happened. But what brings this up is what happened today. I caught a glimpse of the same thing on a news blurb, Business Insider or somebody, I don't remember who the aggregator is, but they had an article about this exact thing, about this couple and how they got turned down by Shark Tank. But at the end of the article, and they went through the whole thing, the article detailed basically what happened, what people said, just went over what I said to you just now. Just the same basic thing. But at the end, the aggregator made the point that this couple is now taking the failed Shark Tank experience, owning up to their own shortcomings in their presentation, and making the best of it, and generating more publicity for their idea and their product. And they're out there just, I don't know if they're killing it or not. I don't know if anybody's buying it. They did a successful Kickstarter campaign. Again, this is called LoveSync, LOVESYNC. So I'm not going to put a link up. I don't even know how to put links yet for anything. So LoveSync, just do a search on it. You'll find it. It's easy enough. I don't know why everybody would expect a link, because I just am not. We'll get there maybe. I'm not going to go into that right now. But anyway, it's just I thought the idea had some merit. I thought if they had toned down things a little bit and looked these guys in the eye and listened to what they had to say, they may have come up with something and they may have gotten a deal. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But again, it's, they're out there making, it seemed like a success, make what their failure becomes a success now somehow. But if it works, it works. Again, the product, it's just an interesting premise. And, but again, great stuff, great Shark Tank. There was you could see the abject terror on both of their faces. This is what I was getting from the whole thing. As I was watching it 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, I think it was 2 weeks, 2 Sundays ago maybe. But anyway, as I was watching it, and what I'm remembering now is this. I thought these two were seriously terrified. Every time they got a question, their ears shut down, and they didn't hear what the sharks were what they were asking. And then when the sharks got angry later, because they start tearing you apart. That's their job. They're sharks. Boy, if you're not on point, they're gonna just eat you alive. And so they did. They ate them alive. They handed them their lunch and sent them packing. It was pretty interesting. But again, I had a hard time grasping the premise. But those guys seemed to not get it at all, because they couldn't see how this could benefit anybody. And personally, I think it could benefit a lot of people. It would be nice if you just lean back in your bed one night at night, and the next thing you know, your button's glowing green because you touched and they touched. You know, I don't know. I would try it. I would if it was out there, and I'll go see what I can do now that I've got a little more interest. Um, Talk to Susan, see if she has an interest too. But you know, if I was in my young years and not not having dealt with the health issues that I've dealt with over the last couple of years, I would think that would be a great thing to have. Some way to communicate without actually talking. Sometimes it works. I mean, there's nothing wrong with talking, there's nothing wrong with touching, there's nothing wrong with any of that. Hopefully all of it gets taken care of. But sometimes the fear of rejection can just stop you in your tracks. And that's the point that I think the people at Lovesick were trying to get to. And they never seem to get it. I think I got it, but they never seem to get it across to those guys that, you know, there is a rejection aspect to everything in life. I mean, one of the reasons we hold back from all kinds of stuff is rejection. You know, we don't go after what we want to go after because we're afraid somebody's going to say no. It's part of the human condition. I don't know. There are some people that are born that they don't care, or, you know, rejection has no meaning. They just go right ahead, go forward with everything, and become successful in most cases. People that won't take no for an answer, that don't even seem to hear the no, they're successful. They do what other people can't. You know, and rightfully so. Very rightfully so. What else would it be? What other kind of world would we live in if, you know, pushing the limits for yourself wouldn't get you someplace? And being afraid of those limits and of being afraid of hitting that wall all the time would hold you back for sure. But anyway, let's hope those people from Lovesick, maybe they'll make some money. Maybe they'll make the best of the situation and people will get it and buy it and utilize it. We'll see. Anyway, right now I want to change topics, and I want you to remember this scene from earlier. This one here. This is today's photo of the day. I did a nice zoom on it earlier. Got in real tight, and I hope it was in focus. I won't know until I review this thing. But I think it's Sydney Harbour, Australia. And that only because I'm not sure, but that might be the Opera House. It always, I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Sydney, will never go to Sydney. I would love to go to Sydney, don't tell me, I'm not saying I don't have a desire. That would be a great thing to go to Australia. I got partially there, Susan and I went to Hawaii, so that's on the way to Australia. but we didn't get that far. We probably would never. We never will, I'm sure. But anyway, that just was a beautiful photo. But what really struck me about the picture, and the reason I'm taking a little time with it, is because of this right here. It looks like a floating Chevron station. If you can go back to the first of this, video and go back to the beginning and see where I've zoomed in, maybe that is. It's the only thing that I can think of. It's a floating gas station. Pretty cool. Anyway, it was a pretty good shot. I thought it was very pretty. I liked the bridge last night too, but this is really much nicer shot. Really pretty. Not sure what all the... I wish I understood it better, but anyway, we're winding down. It is time to say goodnight. I hope we filled your evening with a little information and some humor and laughter. So, good night. Take care. Take care of each other. Treat each other well. And have a good one tomorrow.